try this again. All right. All right. Hopefully that's enough to get us lined up over in the camera section. We'll see. All right, hopefully that gets us. Okay. Hopefully that got us some quarter time. All right, here we go. Your mind is trying to help, even when it hurts. Friends, family, fellow wanderers. Welcome to Studio Zen. This is the Stress Less Guru Calmcast. I am the Stress Less Guru, and on my podcast, I like to slow things down, breathe a little deeper, bring a bit of chill to the hectic pace of life. What I want to do today is talk about reframing our inner critic. And you might know exactly where I'm going with this. How many times have you been involved with something, doing something, and you step back and you look at that thing and you're like, wow, this is absolutely terrible. I do this myself on a regular basis. I love to draw. I like to draw. I like to paint with watercolors. I use chalk and oil pastels from time to time. And I will have this image in my head of what I want to draw or paint. And I sit down and I go to work, and I will spend sometimes hours working on the drawing or the painting, only to step back and look at it and think, wow, this is awful. I don't even want to show anybody because I think it's bad. They're going to think it's bad as well. And I'm sure that in your own life, you've got, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've got those things that you sit down and you do, you say, you sing, whatever it might be. You step back and you're like, wow, that's really rough. I put a lot of effort into it. I guess I'm just going to roll with it, but I'm not happy with it. My brother is a hat maker, and this is a conversation he and I had recently had. We were talking about hats, and he's been doing it for a number of years at this point. And, you know, as you continue to do any skill, most of the time you continue to improve that skill. So then when you go and look back at what you were doing, you're like, wow, that early stuff, that was rough. That was really rough. And so my brother will be out and see somebody wearing one of his hats, and he'll be like, oh my goodness, especially if it was one of the earlier hats, because the earlier hats typically went to like family members who were like, hey, let me help support you on your quest to making hats. And he's very talented. That the hats he makes look awesome. In fact, I would put his hats. He does it. They're very custom. It doesn't mass produce. It's just you want a hat. He will make it to your specifications. And you know, I've been out to the store and seen some of these mass produced hats that go for several hundred up to a couple $1,000s. And I would put his hats up against any one of those hats. But when he looks back at his original works, his earlier hats, he's like, oh my goodness, there are so many problems with those hats. Now, the people that own the hats, the ones that wear them, I have a couple of his hats that were from his original designs, and I think they're great. But when he looks at them, he slightly cringes a little bit because he knows what he does now for those hats that he wasn't doing in the beginning because he just didn't know. The skill set wasn't there yet. And we all do that. We look back at the things that we do very, very critically. And the problem that we run into is we have this inner voice, this inner critic, our inner monologue. It's kind of like that little angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder. They're sitting there whispering to us. But the one that we tend to pay the most attention to is the little devil sitting on our shoulder, right? So you're doing your thing and you're like, this is pretty good. Singing. Yeah, I sound pretty good when I sing. And then you hear yourself played back. You're like, oh my goodness, the little devil's like, that's terrible. Nobody's going to want to listen to that. Whatever the situation might be. It's that inner bully that's sitting there whispering, you're not good enough. This looks awful. You can't put that out there for anybody to see. People are going to mock you. People are going to judge you for this. And we believe that little voice because that little voice is part of who we are. But that little voice is just there trying to protect us. I'm not saying it does a good job at what it's supposed to do, but it's there to whisper and tell you, hey, before you put yourself out there, let me try to protect the ego here. Don't put yourself out there. You're going to fall flat, and nobody's going to appreciate this. Nobody's going to like it. Nobody's going to want to see it. At work, I can't tell you the number of times my job was to create presentations. I mean, I was a trainer at my last job, and my training sessions would sometimes last, usually it was between 9 and 12 weeks, where I would be sitting down on camera with a group of between 12 and 25 people. And for 9 hours a day, I would have a camera looking straight at me, and I would just sit here and I would talk to these people, teaching them their job. And then whenever the next group came through, I'd have to go through and make a whole new presentation, a 9 to 12 week presentation for the next group. And every single time, and I did this for years, I would always sit there right before I hit send for my peers and my supervisors and managers to look over my notes and the presentations. And I was thinking to myself, why do I do this job? It makes me so stressed. Every time I'm sitting here getting ready to send this out. And they loved it. Every time I would send out my presentation, great feedback from the people that were being trained. Everybody was successful at their jobs when they went through my trainings. Everything was always fine. I don't know that there was a time where I had a reservation about what I was going to be sending out there, that there were actually issues with it. But that didn't stop me from being concerned every single time. That little inner monologue, the little voice was sitting there, sowing seeds of doubt. Our anxiety, not anxiety disorders, okay, that those exist, that's not what we're talking about in today's show. I'm just talking about plain old, run-of-the-mill, everyday anxiety. Anxiety is kind of like an overprotective parent. It's constantly there to watch you and make sure that you don't get into trouble. But the problem with that is that it doesn't really have a good grasp on what's good and what's not good. It overanalyzes everything. It overprotects you. Our brains are made such that they want to keep us alive. They don't necessarily want to keep us in peace. Peace is great. Calm is great. But above all, survivability is what the brain is going for. So if it sees a situation, you've got a presentation, either for work, for class, whatever it might be, you want to speak publicly, it is going to overreact, throw as many alarm bells as it possibly can at you. Some of them are valid. Some of them will actually help slow you down, allow you to look over everything to make sure all the final preparations are there. But that anxiety just has to hold on. It just can't let it go. We talked about this in the last podcast, about how our minds will live in the future. It'll live in tomorrow. It'll live in next week. We've got a meeting coming up. All of a sudden it pops up on our calendar. The anxiety is there to tell us, hey, you know what? They're probably going to fire you when we get to that meeting. So just be prepared. Stop buying anything. Make some returns, some emergency cash. We need to get some cash flow coming in because you're not going to have a job next week, right? Then you get there and it's just, hey, there's a policy change. It really doesn't affect you, but I just thought I'd let you know, and I didn't have any other time except, sorry, I put it out a week. We've stressed out about nothing. We had no peace about the situation for a week, 2 weeks, whatever the situation might be. It's because that anxiety is constantly sitting there whispering to us, hey, what's going on with the people at work? What's going on with your boss? What's going on with the presentation? It's not good enough. People aren't going to appreciate it. And then those thoughts loop and spiral and grow. And the what ifs start moving in. And the what ifs are sometimes the worst part of it, because now we're trying to predict, okay, well, if this happens, now I got to start looking for another job. If this happens, am I going to be able to afford the treatment? If this happens, will I be able to afford to fix the car, fix whatever the situation might be? I remember not too long ago, my car was making a weird noise. And I thought for sure I knew exactly. I'm not a mechanic. Look, as far as my knowledge of working a car goes, I can sit in, I can turn the car on and put it in drive, and I can put it in park or reverse. That's about it. There's even like little gears, little S. I think there's might be like a D1 and a D2. I don't know what those things are. I don't mess with them. I just sit in my car, put it in drive, put it in reverse, put it in park, put it in neutral if I need to. But I know so little about cars. Yet I heard this noise and I'm like, okay, I think, because I Googled it, and Google ain't listen, you never Google anything. Okay, what's the statement? You Google something, I've got a sniffle, it's nose cancer, right? So you don't Google because you never get the right thing. I Googled it. I was like, okay, well, it's making this noise. According to Google, this is the part that's going out. I thought it was like the transmission or something. Like, it's going to cost thousands of dollars to get this fixed. Reluctantly, I took it into the mechanic. He did his thing. I dropped it off. He called me at home. He's like, hey, it's this part. It's going to be about $150. That's the part and labor to get it fixed. It was very, very minimal. But the whole time I was stressing, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is my car. And there's no way I have that kind of cash just laying around to just throw thousands of dollars at a repair if it is the transmission. Transmission was fine. I let the anxiety, I let the what ifs steal that peace from me. And you can't do that. You got to let that stuff go. Again, the brain will help keep you alive. It will give you those panic moments. Fight or flight. But with that parasympathetic nervous system, it's fight or flight, right? You don't have a fight or flight or sit down and rest setting. It's fight or flight. We're either running, which is not a peaceful, restful moment, or fighting, also not peaceful and restful. But that's how we are. And we have to be conscious of this and tell ourselves, you know what? It's okay. That little voice that we hear, it's not an evil voice. I don't want you to think anxiety is bad. It's not. Anxiety actually does have useful purposes. It really does keep us out of bad situations. That said, that voice is constantly on edge. That voice is constantly worried. That voice is constantly scared and trying to whisper to you, hey, this might be a bad situation. Maybe we should just not go to the concert, stay home and watch something on television. Don't go to the event. Don't do the thing. Don't show this to anybody. Just sit back, watch TV, listen to music, play a game, hide from the world, and be safe. You might even say anxiety kind of works like a smoke alarm, if you will. You're in the kitchen cooking something, a little bit of grease drips out of the side of the pan, falls onto the burner, and it smokes off of the burner. That smoke alarm, as soon as it gets the whiff of smoke, it doesn't gently say, hey, you might want to clean that grease up. Instead, that smoke alarm starts screaming at the top of its little audible voice, that ear-piercing chirp. Everybody's going frantic. What's going on? Is there a fire somewhere? No. It's just me. I got a little bit of grease on the. Everybody's up in arms trying to figure out what's going on, because the little smoke detector goes from 0 to 60 instantly. And that's what our anxiety does. Our anxiety takes us from things are okay to, oh my gosh, that thing over there might try to do us in. It's going to be bad. Whatever it is, it's going to be bad. I'm predicting bad things in the future. That's what that anxiety is trying to tell us. It's also kind of like a dog. Think about this. So I've got a dog. I've got a little Shih Tzu dog. Adorable little thing. And funniest little thing, because she likes to scratch right behind her ear. But when she scratches at her ear, she thumps her back paw onto the ground. We've got hardwood floors. And so you'll hear her kind of thump, 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 thump with that paw as she's scratching at the ear. And she hears, because she's distracted by the scratching of the ear, she hears thump, 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 and immediately thinks it's somebody at the door. So she starts barking, losing her mind, standing at the door, barking at somebody that's not there. It's her that she's barking at. She has no idea that she's barking at herself. She has no idea. Her anxiety is on high alert because of something she is doing. And how many times after the fact have we sat back and looked to see that the thing that we were so concerned with was just us? We were momentarily distracted. We caused something. And then anxiety sparked falsely because there was nothing there to cause the anxiety to trigger except our own actions. Just a thought. Another problem that we have when it comes to the mind, and this is something you can take this to next time you're like called for jury duty. Keep this in mind. Our memories are a funny, fickle thing. They like to fill in the blanks. My degree is in psychology. This is something that I studied. I actually worked for a clinic doing memory testing for a number of years. So I'm very well versed in the science of and understanding of memory. And one of the problems with memory is it will fill in blanks for us. It tries to make sense of those little gaps that it has. And the brain has a real hard time telling the difference between memory, imagination, and reality. And so what you can have, and this frequently is the case, think about if you're arguing with somebody and they're like, no, this is what happened. What you're arguing against is their memory, which isn't going to be perfect. Memories are not perfect. You go and you listen to somebody in court. Just know whatever that eyewitness is telling you, their memory could be skewed. In fact, the science says if a weapon is present, the memory is almost completely void, because at that point you got small details, but all of the attention is on the panic of the moment in that weapon, and whatever else is happening around you, you're going to get fragments that you walk away from. So when somebody's on the stand, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Think about what they're doing. They're telling you the truth from their perspective. And the truth doesn't actually mean reality. The truth is just, to them, what was real, but may not actually be the full picture. So I could be arguing with you about something that is my truth. Like, I saw this happen from my perspective and what my memory was able to hold on to. You saw something from your perspective, the same event from your perspective. You've got other details that I may not have had, may not have seen. And your memory is also filling in those little blanks. Okay. So I have a truth. You have a truth. And then there's the fact. And the fact is what actually happened. So if we could pull video footage of the event and listen to my version of the story, listen to your version of the story, and then see what's happening there, you'll have two truths and the facts. Our minds fill in those blanks, and those blanks, those memories, those parts of the imagination that are coming in, sometimes cause us additional anxieties. And then when faced with the reality, we either have the release of, okay, well, that's not what I was thinking. That's not what that's not what I remembered, but I'm so glad that I misremembered this thing. Or we soften the facts. As a way of protecting ourselves, our minds will put up barriers, put up walls, and say, okay, this thing, we're not going to remember this, right? To protect us. We think it feels real. Whether it be misremembering on the negative, misremembering on the positive. And I'm not saying that no memories are real or vivid. There are absolutely, you're going to have a lot of memories that are solid. But if there are gaps, your mind is going to try to fill in those gaps. And a lot of the time, you're not going to know the difference between reality and what your mind is filling in for you. And when these moments happen, instead of trying to correct the other person, correct the situation, arguing about it, try bringing compassion and understanding into the conversation and reason it out with the person based on the science of the memory. Hey, this is what you're coming to the table with. This is what you're saying you saw. And that may be, from your perspective, correct. But from my point of view, from my perspective, this is what I saw. Come together. Don't break yourselves apart over whatever it is that you're discussing, because that's not going to be effective. There's a real good chance that person that you're arguing with about the situation, they're not trying to hurt you. They're probably not trying to pull one over on you. They're just giving you what they saw from their perspective, what they remembered from their memory of the situation. Don't let that become a dividing wedge between you and that person. Just bring some compassion, bring some understanding. Memories are not perfect. And if you ever do get to sit on a jury and they're presenting eyewitnesses, if they don't have footage of the situation, eyewitnesses are great. I'm not, but remember, the science of the memory says especially if a weapon was involved or there was any kind of level of threat or danger, memories are going to be kind of Swiss cheese, and the person will do their best to tell you the honest truth. And they do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But their truth isn't always fact. It's just something to kind of put in your pocket and take with you. All right. Last thing I want to talk about, we've got a few more minutes here, and I'll close it off here in just a moment, is I want to take a moment and just focus on our own thoughts. Okay, we've talked plenty about, if you've got confrontation with somebody, we kind of started off just the little devil on our own shoulder. Want to swing full circle. Let's talk about that little devil sitting on our shoulder. Be understanding with the person we're talking to. Also be understanding with you. I cannot tell you the number of times, okay, I have placed something down somewhere in my house with all the best intentions. I'm going down, I'm putting laundry away, or I'm putting something in the washer. So I take my cell phone, put it on the dryer next to the washer, put my clothes in the washer, start the washer going. I need to move some towels. I put the towels on top of the dryer, move things into the dryer, whatever I need to do, do some folding, whatever it is. Go back upstairs. 10 minutes later, where's my phone? Who took my phone? I put my phone right here on the table. I always put my phone right here on the table, and it's gone. Clearly, somebody has taken my phone. And here the whole time, I had taken and put my phone right there on that dryer, put some towels over it when I was moving things around, not even paying attention. The memory isn't solid. You walk into a room, you get up to do something. You're like, oh, I need to go do this. You get into the other room, and you're like, hold on a minute. Why am I even in here? What am I doing in here? Don't argue with yourself. Don't beat yourself up over those moments. Chances are those are not the signs of any kind of early warning, long-term issues. That's just being a human living in a stress-filled world. We've got a million things going on in our minds, and sometimes we just forget. Take that same level of compassion that you would give to somebody else and give it to yourself. It's okay. Don't argue with them about their memories. Don't argue with yourself about your memories. It's okay. And if you do have that little devil sitting on your shoulder and those little intrusive thoughts coming into the mind, that's okay too. Let those intrusive little thoughts come in, examine them, and then let them go. Think of those little thoughts, the little devil. Oh, don't put that piece of art out there for everybody to see. Don't put in that don't turn in the project like this. Everybody's going to laugh at you. You're going to lose your job over this. You know what? Like clouds moving across the sky. They start out small in the distance. The closer they get, the bigger they get. They might even block the sun for a moment. But then they drift off into the distance, just like they returned. And they'll get smaller, and eventually they'll disappear. Take a breath. Don't dwell. And breathe. You do not have to win arguments against your mind. You do not have to obey those little thoughts or give them any time. Just let them come through, observe, and let them go. Did you know chronic self-criticism activates the same stress response as an actual external threat? So if you can reframe that with compassion, tell yourself, you know what? Yeah, this was hard. This is the project. I put a lot of work into it. But you know what? Even if they hate it, it's going to be okay. This piece of art, put a lot of effort into it. I think it's okay. But if nobody else looks at it, you know what? It's going to be fine. It's okay. Just let it be. All right. Good stuff. So, with that, I just want you to take a moment before we close things off here. Take a nice deep breath in, just through the nose. Nice 4 seconds in. Hold that breath for 4 seconds. And then let it out for 6 seconds. Take another breath in. 4 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds. And then breathe. Whenever those little voices, the little anxiety voice comes in, the little bully inside of you, take a moment and just breathe. The inhale is not the magic. What we're doing when we take these breaths in, what's up with the 4 seconds? 4 seconds inhale just helps expand the chest cavity. When we hold for 4 seconds, that breath, we're ever so slightly turning up the CO2 in our bodies, which, if you know anything about the body, we can't live. It's toxic to us. But the magic happens on the release. So the body feels the buildup of that CO2. And then when we breathe it out, the body's like, okay, we can relax, we can reset here. I can go into more of the science of the breath in a different podcast, but just very high level. The magic actually happens. The thing that makes you feel better is between that hold of 4 seconds and that slower exhale of 6 seconds. So when you are doing your focused breathing, make it a nice deep breath in, but really focus on the hold, 4 seconds. And then focus on the exhale, 6 seconds. A little bit longer than that inhale was. And that'll help reset that parasympathetic nervous system. It'll help reset that anxiety. All right. Well, I am the Stress Less Guru. So friends, family, fellow wanderers, if this podcast has helped you stress a little less, given you a little bit of insight into what's going on in anxiety land or into memory, if it helped you breathe a little bit deeper, feel a little less alone, then it's doing exactly what it was meant to do. Take from this podcast whatever resonates with you, leave whatever doesn't. There is no pressure to believe anything here. I just extend an invitation to listen, both in this moment and to yourself. And I'm glad you're here. So wherever you're headed, truly know there is no need to rush. I am the Stressless Guru. And until next time, stress less and live more.